think this is exactly what I needed. Like
Concrete
today,
and the
it's so good.
ambience.
Guys, are you seeing? Ile baridi.
Talk about it. Talk
Yeah,
about
it's really crisp.
First of all, hello. Welcome to another episode of Banter Over Branch.
Podcast, and this is a special episode,
Hey.
guys. Unaona huku pali
From the
tuko kume
setup.
Rebecca.
To the guest,
Yeah.
to the scrum deal.
To the drafts. To
That
the
is the
crisp, to the
scrum
cold, yeah. In case you didn't get it,
In case you
that's
didn't
what
get
it
it, guys, we've been
is.
telling you we've
Yeah.
been partnering with Tasker Draft for quite some time now.
Yes.
And we are so glad that this season we'll be partnering with them also on our podcast episodes. And so shout out to Draft. Guys, today, as you can see in the beauty of the ambience.
Hey,
Sorry.
tuko pali pazuri.
Tuko pali Zuri, ladies and gentlemen. We're in Radisson Blue Hotel at Upper
Yes,
Hill.
at Upper Hill, and we just want to give them a huge shout out for the hospitality, for the ambience.
You know when you can't drink your draft here,
Yeah.
the ambience, the environment just makes you feel bougie.
I
It's
feel
bit
so good.
corporate,
Yeah.
which is exactly the vibe that I needed for a Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
So,
today's Tuesday, and then also I think it is a business hotel. So you as we always say, and even the Tasker slogan is "Baada ya kazi."
Baada
So
ya kazi.
after work, it's just
So-
a nice ambience to just check in and have your draft, which we are enjoying right now. And they have amazing deals as well.
They do, guys. I know people are afraid to come sometimes to these big hotels and assume that maybe there are things that you can't afford. But
Yeah.
guys, they offer happy hours
Yes.
every day.
Every day from
5
5 to 7
You buy one
p.m.
draft and you get one free.
Yes.
So talk about it. If you want to do something fancy, you want to treat yourself, and you want to be a bit on a budget, but you want to be classy, fancy, head on over to Radisson Blue Upper
Yes,
Hill and
and-
grab yourself a happy hour Tasker draft, and you will buy one, get one free. Store your name.
To are your client.
Store your client. Let's
Yeah,
go
Mwambie,
to...
cool, like, Tasker is more in Kenya, and
You
Tasker
know, like,
for
let
a
me
beer.
take you.
But now let me show you.
Tusker,
Not
you know,
bottle.
you know,
We're doing drafts.
just beer fresh.
Yeah, it's
from
really
the
nice.
source.
Yes.
So honestly, guys, we're not just promoting
Yeah.
because we're genuinely so happy to be here, hosted by Radisson Blue, as you guys have been together with us in our journey, and now we've been able to come here, record the podcast, the lovely conversation with our lovely guests.
I don't even know if you guys are ready for the conversation that's
conversation
coming
was
up.
so
We have
amazing.
a powerhouse.
I thought we Nyamaza. You know me, I
Yeah.
talk a lot sometimes on this podcast.
We were
You've
hashed.
met my match.
We were hashed, by the
were
way. We were just me as in class, and that's why I said it's one episode that for sure I know I'm going to go back to because there were so many gems, and I like how she took her time to like really just get into the meat of
into
it,
the
which was
details.
an
From
amazing
the topic
episode.
of this episode, you guys
Yeah.
already know it's gonna be a gem. Thank you so much, Tasker, for sponsoring this video,
episode,
this
yeah.
episode. Again, guys, of course, we have to be advocates for responsible drinking. So make sure that you're
Yeah.
drinking Tasker Draft only if you're above the age of 18 years of age.
Yes. Yeah. So guys, as you said, responsible drinking, and
yes.
remember to drink better, not more. Have something
Have
to
some
eat, have
water,
some
have
water, and know when it's time to
munchies.
go home.
Know when it's time to call it quits. I know a holiday is creeping up on us again. Coming this month. I love this
We're
month.
blessed. We're blessed.
3
But anyway,
holidays
yeah.
in 1 month. But anyway, let's before we veer off to another conversation. We feel we've not talked in this episode. We've been giving space, so I think I have the.
That's why
topic.
we have
Yapa
5,000
yapa.
words to Nini. But anyway, I'm trying to enjoy my cold Tusker draft before
Yes.
it gets warm. So
Yeah.
enjoy
We'll
the
see you
episode,
guys in
guys.
the episode.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Banter Over Brand, episode 105.
Hey, 105 tumefika mbali.
Yes, like I think saying it now is like here.
Wacha tufike 110, 120.
It's a lot. We've been here for a while, so
Yeah, that's a call for you to go and listen to our other episodes right after this one.
yeah.
As you can see, we have a change of environment, but I'm sure you already know why. Because we
Yeah.
mentioned in our first intro.
Yes, and we also have a guest with
Yes,
us.
we were getting there. We have a special guest with us today. We got to
Yeah.
go. I promise my guest this season.
Since 2020,
So-
actually. How many guest episodes have we had?
This is not the time to count them.
No, just thinking about it, considering we've had 105 episodes, and out of all those 105, we've been saying we're
90
having
of them
guests.
are us.
Yeah, I think we've had 5 guest episodes.
5.
Top of my head.
I know.
More.
100 episodes, Alexa, tumekuwa na 5 guests.
Host nani? Okay, girls episode, boys episode. Then we did Chop Shop. We had my mom and we had Miss Nguru and Gail. I think those are the only people we've had on the podcast.
And now we have my
And then we
sister.
have Alice's sister.
Comfortable, introduce yourself. Hi,
Yeah.
welcome to the pod. Can you do an intro? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah,
And
hey
who you
guys.
are, what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hi everyone. So my name is Magda, and yeah, I'm Alice's sister. I work in entertainment, specifically kids entertainment, so creating animation shows for kids.
Yeah.
So that's exciting, and that's sort of been my career most of my life. I've been in entertainment, so I started with music, moved over to social entrepreneurship, which was a bit off but still the same, and then now kids entertainment. So that's what I do.
Wow.
Okay, that's interesting.
That sounds like such a cool career. I don't know. How is it? Like, did you ever is that what you studied in school, or did you just find yourself there and love it?
Yeah, I always wanted to do journalism, so communications
Yeah.
mostly, and yeah, I mean, I dreamt of becoming like Christian Amanpour, who was on CNN in like
Yes.
war zones, talking to people, asking them questions. So I think I was always interested in people and finding out about people, and somehow life just kind of got me here.
Yeah.
There was never a plan career-wise. It was just like, I'm gonna do this thing. Yeah, and then somehow just ended up where I am.
Yes.
My first job was straight out of uni, doing an internship. Ended up meeting a friend who was starting a company in Kenya, and that's how I joined the company, which was dundo.com.
Yes.
One of the best teams ever. That was a fantastic start to my career. Then from that, it's always been here. So it's just always, I said, connecting the dots. It's just
Yeah.
meeting one person, and then through that, things just sort of
Fall into place.
flow.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. Magda, apart from being like Alice's sister, is also a branchy. In fact, she really somered us, I think last year, but on said we're not calling people listeners.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, she's
Guys, I'm
somered.
a
I
fan.
remembered by this, she somered us. So
By
that's
the
what
way,
made
I
us.
to Somea last week, but want to kiss my story ya election. Kama you saw that
And
DM.
Shindanga ametusomea. She keeps us in check.
I just
But anyway,
check exactly.
yeah, we know that it shows that she's actively listening, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for being a
I don't know how
branchy.
I feel about
course.
that. Do you listen to all our episodes?
Yeah, most of them. Because I'm a podcast person. I like waking up to something in the background, so that's when I
Yeah.
play my podcasts.
Okay. Now semangi kitu.
Okay, your domains, you not them. She says she shows support, man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
yeah.
so should you guys. Because today's episode is a very interesting one. We've been meaning to bring an older. Okay.
Oh my God. Wow.
The older is better. You have said something like senior.
More insights
Go on.
than us on some other
Yeah.
topics.
A
Because
person
our
who is more
audience
wise,
who's
we realized
wiser,
wisdom
more
kidogo.
experienced a bit. Yeah, older
Yeah.
older ni harsh.
Wiser.
It's okay.
Wiser,
Yeah.
to just bring opinions that maybe our audience nakuanga more than our age group.
Yes.
So sometimes there's topics that we're not able to really unpack. Sasa we are wondering, okay, how do we get to the bottom of this? So it's very interesting to also gauge with how we think on specific topics and areas. And yeah, that's the main reason why we brought you here.
Yeah.
And
To have a different, I think, perspective, as I said, that people say old is gold. Okay, not old. Okay, I'm making it worse. No,
You can move. You can move.
guys, sorry.
Let's keep it going.
I did say something else.
it's not one.
I think people, like when it's your birthday, people say, yeah, may grow wiser, so I believe you. You're more wise.
Sharibu.
Yeah, oops. Anyway,
Sharibu.
we value your opinion. That's why you're here. Yeah.
Fantastic. Happy to share whatever I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do we start, Alexia?
I think there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think already since we were, let's say, we started like with career, I think maybe some of the things that you know now or that you think you would advise someone in their 20s in terms of career expectations. You did say
Yeah.
going with the flow and just, yeah.
So maybe you can walk us through how you went through the different stages of from sasa post in uni. Did you get a job in uni, or was there a mentality you had in your early 20s that now you can't even believe you used to think that way, Yama, you changed the way you think about it? Just your work experience in general.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think in your 20s it's interesting because there's a lot you think you know, and then there's a lot you definitely don't know. So it's a balance of both. But the biggest thing is always like mindset. For me, I think what supported or helped me like push through was I was in different leadership groups when I was in uni, so that got me activated in the okay, this is how you think about doing stuff, going to the community, working. So I was in ISEC in uni, and through ISEC, I sort of just met different people, which allowed me to expand my mind. I think when you're in a bubble of uni and hanging out with people, it's the going out, it's the studying, it's the so you don't really have time to connect and network. I think when you're in a space like ISEC or any leadership,
Yeah.
blah, 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 it allows you to sort of be in a mindset of, okay, go, go, go. Because it's a lot of young, energized people who are into this thing called leadership, or, so you learn how to start taking charge
Of your life, yeah.
early. And I think the biggest struggle for a lot of people when you're in your 20s is like, how do I get started? And I think for me, the biggest thing was just finding myself in spaces where I was always having to push myself to do something. Because otherwise, you find yourself waiting and no one is going to come and save you. No one is saving you. No one is going to, hey, oh my God, you look cool. People think it happens that way. It doesn't. It's really like you have to start doing something and then you'll get noticed. So I think that's how I navigated my 20s. It was really like, so far I would say, and my trajectory is also very different because for my career I never had to apply for jobs. I literally met the people who are working and it was just a conversation and they're like, yeah, we want you to join the team. Yeah. uh, they took a chance on me because maybe a friend recommended, or hey, you should talk to this girl, she's very, but that's because people had seen
To know
me and
what you're
therefore
doing.
had, you know so
So
that's the career thing I would say. And there's no plan. I think you can have a vision, but most times life will surprise you with what comes your way. And I don't think it gets better. That's just life. Whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, there's a lot you may be aware of, but it just keeps kind of finding you. But you have to be ready for the opportunity. Like Oprah says, luck is opportunity meeting a moment of preparation,
Preparation.
and then boom, the magic happens. But
yeah.
that's how it goes.
I think just to touch on what you are saying about leadership, one of my best friends who's also been a guest here,
Yeah.
Gail, she had the opportunity when we were in high school, after post high school, to go to African Leadership Academy. And she was there for 2 years, and you could instantly see the shift in how she views life and how, even until today, that push or energy. So there's something that people learn in these leadership schools that maybe we need
And
to,
activities.
yeah,
And I think
that
even you mentioned ISEC.
programs.
Yeah, sorry. I know even like in
Yeah.
Strath, ISEC is a big thing.
My university experience was so different because I was in uni of COVID, like
Yeah. And I
home,
think
work from
also
home.
Yeah.
your personality allowed you to do other things outside of
Yeah.
school.
Yes,
There's some people who,
exactly.
yani, school is everything for them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't step out of their comfort zones outside of school. So
Yeah.
I did see people like join clubs and all these activities. I mean,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
student council and all
I
this.
was
And I
doing
know
absolutely
friends who actually got jobs because of
because
being
of
in
those.
ISEC or because of, and just that community that you build. And I think it's something tell branches also, yeah, like literally there you said you've never applied for a job, you're just putting yourself out there, and it doesn't mean you have to be an extrovert. It just means
Yeah.
You
whatever
need to
the
figure out how to be in
activities,
the right spaces.
yes, matter to you, you'll find yourself there, and let people know what you do, because if people don't know who you are, what you
Yeah.
do,
There's
there's really not
something
much.
interesting that I just want to link from my other podcast that is coming soon. Guys,
Yeah.
please listen to my tech story. But one of my guests said that you can be an introvert with so many things, but never be introverted with your success or with your career. Don't be an introvert with your career. So whether that's, some people say maybe posting on LinkedIn, you're feeling shy, or you're in this particular space and you're not, you have the opportunity but you're not taking it. I think that really struck home, because it was like, okay, you can be an introvert and that's your personality, but an introvert about your career is the beginning of your end.
Yeah.
So
And I
think
think,
so.
yeah, I mean, it's good you bring up this whole introvert extrovert because I think people really confuse it. these are traits of they just are characteristics. It doesn't mean that's who you are, and that's why people need to learn to separate. We all have an introvert in us. We all have an extrovert in us. It's like, when do you activate it? So, when someone's like, "Oh, I'm an introvert. I don't want to do that," it's like, yeah, but it doesn't mean you can't activate your
No, but they only
extro.
practice.
Yeah. And so, I think what I see a lot with young people is like, "Oh, I'm an introvert. I don't want to go out." But yeah, everyone has that side of them. There's
It's
days as an
true.
extrovert you will wake up and you
Yeah.
don't want to go out, but it's just a preference. Of course, being an introvert, being an extrovert just means you have a preference towards how you navigate the world. Extroverts are more outgoing, they're more, but it doesn't mean an introvert can't do the same. They
Yeah.
can also go to a party and,
Yeah.
interact. And so I just always want to make sure people understand, just because that's a trait you have doesn't make you
Should
that
hold you
person.
down.
It's
Yeah.
just a trait and a preference, but it's not
Yeah.
who you are. So
But
yeah.
also life sometimes in everything naturally is unfair to some people. You can't have everything. So I think this is one of those instances where if you were born introverted, like, okay, now this is what the information I have. I now know maybe it's a bit harder for me to engage with people. This is not, but I'm going, like Magda has said, I'm going to push myself to do it. For me, maybe my lack is not necessarily in being extroverted or talking to people, or it's about what can it be?
But
Only understanding.
you know what I'm trying to say is exactly what you're saying. I want people to separate that. No one is born introverted, no one is born extroverted.
Extroverted.
You're
Yeah.
never born with that. It's just as you grow up, you learn because of circumstances, situations, to navigate the world in a specific way. So it's just a preference. People need to learn to not say, "Oh, I'm an introvert." It's really like it's a preference.
Like you can mold, you can
Yeah, you can
modify
you can
and
shape yourself. A
yeah,
lot of people say, "I'm an
as
extrovert,"
if
or
it's
I'm an introvert.
permanent.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
act like it's a permanent thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's literally a preference. So I think, yeah, the important thing is to be aware where you get your navigation skills from, and then use that to navigate the world. If you understand you're an introvert, or you've pointed out to yourself, "Oh, by the way, I don't do well in crowds," it just means then you understand preparation is important for you. So you then can communicate to people in advance and say, "Oh, by the way, if you're inviting me for something, make sure you do it 2 to 3 days in advance. It's just going to help me
Yeah,
mentally
prepare.
prepare."
Okay.
It's that kind of thing. It's just using it
Putting
as your
measures.
strength and using it to be aware of your. Same to an extrovert. Of course, you can be outgoing and that, but the challenge of being an extrovert, you understand, is you get to know so many people, but you hardly ever have people who are like core, because you know too many people. So it's like, once you have this understanding of yourself, it's saying, "Okay, I know that's my way of navigating the world. How do I now communicate it to people? If there's someone I'm really intending to be like a proper friend, like, how can I communicate that to them, that I'm not just doing the hey hey? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm also like keen on a long term, But these are traits. Again, it's just important for people to say, "I'm not you're not born an introvert, you're not born an extrovert. It's just a trait, So
But when you say that you got yourself into spaces or met people that just gave you the opportunity to advance your career, um, I don't know if you really went deep into how you actually got to those places. Okay, so you went to ISEC, and so who were you when you were
yeah,
in those places
yeah.
that gave you those opportunities?
So I joined ISEC quite late. I only joined ISEC when I finished my campus, and you're supposed to do an internship. And just by chance, or I don't know, universe, my primary school friend saw me from the grass in UON. We have like a big field in the middle, and he just shouted like, "Hey, Magda," and he was like, and it was just so random. I didn't think
At least
I would meet a friend in that way, and he's like, "Oh, like, what are you doing here? I didn't know you're in this uni." And that's where he told me about ISEC, and he's like, "Oh, you should come tomorrow. We're having a meeting." So that's pretty late for an ISEC. Yeah, people join this when they join, but I didn't even know what ISEC was till the end of uni. Then when I joined, it was exciting because you get into this room and everyone is using these terms and they're just so energized. But I remember picking out from one of the conversations that they were having, they said they were going to visit schools in slums. And I was like, well, that's interesting. I've always wanted to do that, but I didn't know where or how to start. So then it became, I'll join whoever the group that's going to schools. And then when I went to the schools, I saw what they were doing there, what's the impact they were having. Volunteers were coming and working in schools and helping kids. And I just remember having the thought, okay, if people are coming from abroad to do this, I can also do this. Why do kids need someone from abroad to come save them when we have
You're
people here.
available, yeah.
And so that's how I navigated my way to ISEC. And then I found out you can apply for a role to become the leader of different projects. And then I was like, okay, now I have understanding of all the SAMs. And I went for all visits they did. I went to Mukuru, I was in Madar, I was in Kibera. I was just curious. So I
Yeah.
think curiosity led me a lot and has led my career a lot. I was just curious, constantly curious and asking questions. So it was like, then I found out you can apply for the role. I applied for that role. Through the role, it's exciting. You're meeting different people, you're learning, you're talking to them, you're understanding. So that's what I mean navigating the world. It's like then they see you in action and it's like, oh, Magda is really like interesting, she's cool. Let's navigate.
It's cool. That's what they were saying.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. But that was my way of navigating at least my ISEC world. And then through ISEC, then I met someone who said, actually, my friend is starting a company in Kenya. You guys should meet. And that's how I joined the Mdundo team. And then when I was in the Mdundo team, ISEC had this project that they had just started in partnership with Norwegian Peace Corps. So it was like an exchange program to go work abroad. So why not? I would apply. And, applying is not just like applying. It's also showing that you have done something when you are in ISEC. And this is why you should trust me. And this is what I can do. And the process are very intense because for any exchange programs, like they select only like, it's not for everyone. So again, it's not just luck. It's really like you have to be prepared. And I had nothing special, but I knew what I could do. And I used that to
push you
for
forward. Yeah.
So then I did that and I came back to Kenya and I was like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? And when I was in Oslo, I had attended a conference. And then there I had met someone who had a business in Kenya and she said, oh, we have a partner in Kenya. You should definitely talk to her. She's an inspiring lady. So when I came back, I was Googling that lady and man, I was just looking through my emails, so many emails. I was like, hey, her name is Patricia. I was like, hey, Patricia, I was given your contact by this. And I think she was an investor in her company. So I was just sending emails like every day. Hey, I was told about your company. I would like to intern there. Like, let me know when he's, da, da, da. So and then one day she just responded and said, hey, Magdalene, I'm sorry, I've been busy. And I think it was like months. She responded later. And she said, okay, come to my office at this time. So yeah, I just went to her office and she said, okay, we really have nothing, but you're good in comms, so you can try out the comms. And that's it. And then when I was working there, I was like, it was an internship. It was proper. Like I remember at the end of the week, I was being paid like 2,500, but it was okay for me because I was like, at least I have some money to navigate. And then when I was there, I found out about YALI, Young African Leaders Initiative, which is a program for African leaders. And during this time, I was working with schools in slums. Again, I was just prepared. It
Everything
just
was
happened
just
to merge, connected. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to apply for this thing. Applied for it, talked about my leadership, what I've done to the community, the exchange program I'd done, And then that's how I joined YALI, cohort 3, which was a new program Obama had launched. And yeah, then when I was in YALI, met a Money Institute who are running the program there. They were teaching us about social entrepreneurship. How do you become a change maker using entrepreneurship skills? So social entrepreneurship was just becoming a new topic. This is early 2016. And the founder of a Money Institute it was the first time doing the program. So he was the CEO, was running the program, talking to the students, and met him. And he was like, I asked questions. So in class, I was properly asking questions. So I remember he spotted me out and he said, hey, like, I would like to have a conversation with you. Man, and I panicked. I don't know why I panicked. I was just like, man, is it because of the questions? I asked too many questions.
You're challenging him too much in class.
It was interesting because he asked me, like, what are your plans after the program? Do you have a job? I was like, no. And he said, you should apply for a program. I think it's going to be a well fit for you. You're super smart, And I was like, it was fascinating to me because sometimes I forget I have it in me. So it's like he spotted me out and, it's a program for social entrepreneurs and people had to pay. So I was like, bruh, look, I just came from, me, I don't have. He said, don't worry about it. We'll work it out. So I got a scholarship to go to Amani Institute. And after I finished my scholarship with Amani, I joined the team. And I was working for Amani where I met my now boss who had come to talk about the business she has, which is education. Back then it was an app to teach kids literacy. And again, questions. And at the end of the thing, we exchanged contacts and we just stayed in touch. And when she was ready to launch her company in 2018. She reached out and said, "Hey, look, would love for you to join the company. I'm keen, and we are both similar personalities. Where when we want something, we go for it." So really, that's how
How
it
you got
happened.
to where you are.
So it's kind of back to the thing I was saying: preparation meeting a moment of opportunity. It's like I was just kind of prepared. People think being lucky is like, oh, you were just sitting and someone spotted you. No, it's like, it's exactly what you guys are doing here. You have a podcast, you're doing something, and I think a lot of people sit and just wait for, I don't know, you always
big break
imagine
from
someone is
somewhere.
just going to come and
Discover
say,
you.
wow, Alexa, gosh, you are so, it will never happen,
With
guys.
nothing
Impossible.
to
Never
back
happen.
it up.
Even
Yeah.
when you're asked, so what do you do or what do you have to bring
Yeah.
Yeah,
that we have
and
you?
yeah, completely. And it's interesting because now I've worked in my career for a while, and people will come and say, oh, I'm looking even for internship, like someone is just so frail and they're just so scared, and you ask them, okay, send me what you have, and it's just like, it's, man,
Nothing.
I'm like, when the digital age, this is the
Unique
age you
bus.
Google everything.
Yeah.
I will
Even us,
Google-
we're hiring right now.
yeah,
Na
and you're
si kwa
seeing it, yeah?
ubaya.
You're seeing it, yeah.
But I am like, even as a student, like even if you're still in school, there's still some activities you can participate in that you
Yes.
can put as work experience. I
Yes.
don't think
Yeah.
you should ever have like zero work. Even if you worked
Yeah.
for your parents
Yeah.
over the holiday, that's something you should, include. So,
Completely.
yeah.
And even online courses, yeah. If I'm
Yeah,
applying for a
there's
job
so
now, it's
many
the
we've
age of
done.
so many free online courses, and
Even unpaid internship if that's
it's, man, start with
Volunteer.
anything. Me, I did everything. Like if I just was interested in learning, you need to understand what's the thing you want to learn from something. So intention is very big. You need to understand, what am I going in here for? What do I want to learn? And sometimes you think you know what you want to learn, and then when you're in there, there's so much you learn, and then you're like, whoa, I didn't know I was signing up for this.
All
So
this, yeah.
it's that kind of thing. And I think so many people just feel hopeless, like they can't do anything. Or yeah, even when they apply for a job, it's just by luck. Man,
yeah.
like do something. Just for me, and I mean, the world is also changing. No one cares about degrees anymore. We care about what have you done. So
What
it's
skills
like,
do
if
you
you're
have?
saying I'm a social media expert, or I like social media, have something to show. It's not about your page being with 59,000 followers. It's about saying, this is some content pieces I've created. This is how content plan I've done before, and just something to show. And that's the most important. And by the way, you guys are now looking for someone. Don't even get to the managing side, because that's a whole other part. Managing people who are not motivated is tough, and so that's something you will face, because you think you find the right person and you hope, okay, this person executes the role I've hired them for in the right way, and then someone is just lazy, and then all of a sudden
Soft skills and-
then you hear them saying, I'm nilipi ya kutosha, and you're like, okay, I mean, is this about pay? Is it about you've shown me that your skills are worthwhile? Because no boss will ever want to not do good for someone
who's doing good
if
for them.
man, if they're good, you're doing everything to keep this
them.
person. Yeah, if it's a conversation about salary, you'll be like, yeah, now we can't afford, but at the back of your mind, as someone who's hired, you're then thinking, I want to
planning
give
for
this
them,
person the best, because you also understand the skill set you have within. And so I think the world is interesting to navigate, and the beauty is that if every different level, you need to always be conscious about, who am I, what am I giving out, and how am I navigating the world. I think the one thing I will tell people in their 20s is that self-awareness is so big, it's massive, it will get you far. Self-awareness, yes, it's not just about introvert, extrovert, it's also about understanding, okay, what drives me, what excites me, what did I learn from that situation, what don't I want to do anymore, what do I want to do more of, and doing it. It's not just about saying, it's also like getting into the doing. People get stuck in the thoughts and the
I like that.
you need to
Preach.
push yourself. You need to push yourself. It's not just about, because there's so many
Let's
people who are
talk.
self-aware, but
Action.
okay, brah, what have you done
I
with
do
the
with it?
self-awareness? How is
Yeah.
it changing you? So it's like really the next step after the self-awareness. That's important. And I struggled with that a lot in my 20s. So I'm saying it out of experience. It's like, as much as you know yourself, it won't get you far. It's the next level. So yeah.
Hey, shh.
Yeah. Nah.
Hey, we can go home at this point. Hey, I think I like that you went into the details of your journey, because I know there are some people who will definitely pick up a few things from there. And I think the take home from that segment is luck is when opportunity meets preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So just
exactly.
wherever you are, work with what you already have.
Yeah,
In
completely.
where you are. Yeah. And you have so much more than you actually think
Yeah.
you have. I
And
think.
people have
It's
so
true.
much, they just don't even understand the
Yeah.
level of what they have.
You'll
It's
actually be
insane.
surprised how much people are doing less than what you think they are. Because,
Mm.
even when you look at maybe people in uni or after post uni and you receive those applications, sometimes you feel like, hata niko wapi. But you really realize, even if those small things that you're doing, maybe you had even social media and you gauge with what people are doing. There's a batch of people who are doing excellent and are trying their best to do their level best, but there's a huge batch of people who are kind of in the same space you are, but what will make you different is you doing something about that.
And literally, that's how you have to think about yourself. It's at any given point, what's making me different? What's making
Exactly.
me stand
Yeah.
out?
Stand
Because
out.
even if we're talking about this luck, people don't just come and say, wow, that person, where we are, they see something in you that's different from everyone they interact with. So that's the unique aspect we keep talking about here.
Yeah.
And I also want to make sure, we're not sounding preachy, but it's really honestly the only thing that will save you is your mindset. Your mindset is your biggest asset,
Asset.
and you constantly need to work on this.
Liability.
I'm aware we come with so many, and at least you guys were in Gen Z, there's so much pressure on social, and you think someone is doing so much better in life because of what they post on Instagram, and you feel so much pressure, and it's normal. Even us in our millennial ages, some of us suffer from that, but
Yeah.
you have to know how to separate, because no one is giving the worst side of life on social media. They're giving you the side they want you to see. So you need to be very keen not to be comparing yourself to someone who you have absolutely no understanding of what's happening in their life. So you get the real. It's like
gist.
Yeah.
yeah, you need to do a lot to push yourself to be out there. Stop comparing yourself. It's tough, but it's you just have to set some rules for yourself. And I think you guys even have had an episode that talked about how to control your social media management and how to, because so many people are now
Self-care.
getting so anxious because they think their friend is doing so
Yeah.
much better than them, and you're not. You're really just pushing through the world as best as you can.
And then you'll find even your friend thinks you're doing better than them, or they're
Yeah.
envying you. They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, who you?
It's
You
just a
know."
side.
But then the important thing then is, I think, lucky for me, later in my 20s, I've met really a core group of friends who we keep each other in check. It's really important to be surrounded by people who can check you and
Yeah.
really like, hey,
Speaking of which, oh, sorry.
that wasn't,
Segue into that.
you
Yeah.
know, that wasn't a good thing you did, or they're not scared to have a conversation with you, because I think I never had that so much of my younger days. I was just like navigating and thinking I'm cool. And then all of a sudden when you meet
You have
friends,
people
and,
that like-
and it's not just about calling you out, it's even the value of what they say to you. They'll say things
Yeah.
like, my God, you're such a gem, like you deserve the best. And
Yeah.
and it's just to have that reminder is like, wow, because most times in your young 20s, everyone is just kind of out. You're always out. You're going, getting drunk. You're going, and that's what's surrounding you. And you don't have people who are really in your, and you can have so many friends, but who are your friends? That's
Yeah,
that's what I struggled with. I think in my younger days, it's like I knew so many people, but no one was like deep enough to be like, hey Magda, this is an interesting book you should be reading, or hey, have you checked out this? It's just people who are on your team and you have similar interests and value. I think value system is the most important. Like once you have that, your life is, I cannot explain, transformed. So
Yeah.
it's key.
It's key. I like that we've segued into friendship also.
Yeah.
And
Touch on that as
yeah, I
well.
think
You
you've
know, in this
already.
podcast, we like talking about friendships.
Yeah, because I
Why
think
is
it's
that
an,
an-
it's
why
an
is that important for you?
I think
Yeah.
it's an important relationship that I think people know it's important, but
Yeah.
decide, okay, we're not talking about it. See, we have friends, but but I think I like how you've brought out the fact that where you are right now in life, your friendships are different. Like
Yeah.
when you were in your 20s, it was more of fun, going out, partying, and now what you need right now is a solid group of people where who you can be vulnerable with, who can check
Yeah.
you, who can motivate you, who can push you, and who you can be accountable to. Yeah. So I think what are some of the friendship gems you can share with, or how to even navigate friendships? I don't know if you've even gone through a friendship breakup, or like how that
Yeah.
was for you and all that.
Okay, when it comes to friendships, it's interesting because there's people who for sure you will be friends with. I've always had my high school friends. We were close when we were in high school. And it's a small group of people. It's just people who we really like stayed strong together with each other all through high school. So those I call my core friends. I don't see them every day, but I know anytime we meet, guys, it's a good time. We're talking life, we're talking progress, and it's interesting when it's your high school friends because you remember yourself when you were teenagers. And then you're always talking about unakumbuka ukibeba bag, unakumbuka and it's so weird to be here because you when you're in it, it's hard to see, but then to see your friends go through life is it's one of those gems. So meeting people who you already connect with early is important. So I had those people. And in my 20s, it's interesting. I don't think I had people who have stayed with me all through my 20s, only my high school friends. And the core group of friends I have now, man, it's so random how I even met them because I just went on a date with someone and that didn't work out. But the first date I went with this person, he came with his group of friends and I came with my group of friends. And that was the best time we ever had in my life.
You mix friends groups. Did you jump?
Yeah, and it was just like the best date ever, and I didn't even feel it was just like two groups of friends met and bonded. And me
You all
and him
became
never
friends?
we never worked out with this guy.
Yeah.
But because of course he came with his friends and he was also, just in the country shortly visiting. He wasn't like staying. And so I was like, okay, anyway, you're going. But, there was a lot of factors that didn't seem that we would be a successful thing. But I met his friends who live here and we just stayed friends and boom. And it's become a solid friendship. It's so stupid because in the beginning it was just like, yeah, who's this girl? Who are these guys? Like, we're kind of assessing each other.
Yeah, I know.
And that moved from just seeing each other once and literally every single week of my life since I've met these guys, we meet. And it's insane to me to think that that's like 2 or 3 years ago. And I think it was different because we were never afraid to call each other out. In the beginning, it was a bit weird because I was like, who are these guys, man? We're kind of sussing each other. And then you just realize that genuinely nice people.
Yeah.
It's people who have no...
They did.
Yeah, it was... it's interesting. Those are details for another day, but... Either way, me and them became friends. Yeah,
My squad meetup.
And yeah, the squad meetup was interesting. And of course, in the beginning, that was a factor. It was like, like these are the friends of this guy. I don't know. But then, once we moved past that, we just realized actually we like each other and we have similar value systems. We see the world the same. But what made us become really good friends is that understanding we share common values. We want to see, we see the world almost the same. We treat people the same. We navigate the world with a level of determination, push. There was a lot of similarities where we're like, you know what, actually, you're my kind of person. And we've really been on each other's team since then. So whether it's being vulnerable, whether it's just saying, what did you do there? That wasn't a nice thing to do. And, in the beginning, you're always scared of having those in friendships, especially when you're young, because you think like, anajaribu kuniambia, but it's like, when you're in a certain mindset or place in your life and you meet this kind of people, it's different. Of course, you won't be happy when they're telling you about it, but then you kind of go home and reflect on it. And I think I realized I was in a solid friendship when, sometimes you do something shit and you're like, oh my God, these guys will never talk to me again. It's impossible. They just won't love me. But then, it follows then they do a follow up and they're like, hey, what's up? Did you understand where I was coming from? And all of a sudden the fears of I'm a bad person is shifted from, because sometimes when you do bad things, you think like, now you think you're a bad person, the whole world is judging you. And so I used to have that fear in the beginning. It's like, oh my God, now they're going to judge me. But then it slowly shifted to, oh, actually I did a bad thing. It's okay, I'm being called out. It's okay and that doesn't change how they see me. It's just, they understand that's a trait I have. They can call me out and we move, we move regardless. So their love wasn't determined by certain things you did. If you did something wrong and they see you here, they call you back. And so that's changed. So to have that level of, and it's interesting because once you find this kind of people, you attract similar people and the friendship groups keep growing. I keep joking that I never thought I would make friends in adulthood. And interestingly, making them... Interestingly, the older you are, the more aware of what you want.
I think it's,
and the easier it is to connect with people. Because I always thought like, man, I don't want to make friends when I'm an adult. It's tough, but it's actually much...
Where do you even find friends as an adult? Maybe we start there.
it's anywhere. It's these things you're
Skik
doing.
dates.
You're in conferences. Could be in conferences. Honestly, could be a
Yeah.
meeting you have with someone, and
Or
then you
shooting a shot also. I mean,
yeah,
I
sometimes
think,
also just shooting
yeah,
a shot, but
this
it's
season.
mostly I wouldn't say by chance, but you know exactly what I was talking about, preparation meeting opportunity. You can be in a spot like this, you know, where we are today, and someone is like, hey, what do you guys do? I like, you know, and then all of a sudden they discover your podcast, and then you know our friendship could start from there because they'll be like, oh hey, you know, I listened to your episode and such things, and then the next thing you're having drinks, next thing you know, you guys are talking about, oh, you should talk about this stuff, you know. So it's really random in that sense, but I think the older you are, the more aware of what you want, and it makes it easier then to make friends.
I think
I have so many points. I'm loving this
okay. Let
conversation.
me
Go fast.
just
Yeah.
go
Okay,
first
I
and
have two
ask.
points.
There seems to be a gap where I'm trying to understand what happened in your friendships, because you mentioned your high school friends and then jumped to 2 years ago where you met this group of friends.
Yeah,
So did you not have a solid group of friends, you would say, in your
I
and
had
what made you realize
no, I
maybe you're
had
not?
people for sure, but we were hanging out mostly. Yeah, it's like for me, hanging out is, hey, are you going out? Sour, we meet, and it's not that they're not my friends. And I mean, to correct
Yeah.
that, they are still my friends, but the relationship is in a different level. Yeah, it's like we understand at what level are we connecting, and of course they're still my friends, and we can meet and have a conversation, but it's no longer the for me, the kind of people I'm talking about is the everyday people, the every week people, the people who I'm understanding that for sure if a week doesn't end, I'll meet you or I'll see you. So that's the core people I'm talking about. The others are still friends, but we meet at different levels. You know what I mean? We're not meeting every week, but we could probably meet in 2 months and we'll still have a great time. And but it's not solid enough where it's like a weekly. And I think that's the thing with adulthood. You'll find yourself small group, core, boom, that's it. And even in situations where you have the opportunity to make new friends, you're like, you know, and we always joke about it. Sometimes we walk into an event and we're like, guys, are we making new friends today or are we hang with each other? And we end up just spending the same with the same group of people who are doing the same. I mean, it's not ideal. Of course, you have to push yourself, but sometimes it's like even the situation determines it, man. Sometimes it's not about making friends. It's just about you know, hanging with the
Enjoying
people
each
you
other's
like. And
company.
if we like each other, we hang more and we stay with each
Yeah.
other.
Okay, my points that I've taken away. One is I think healthy relationships and healthy friendships require uncomfortable
Completely.
conversations. You know, I think even me, I think it's very uncomfortable to call out a friend and it's very uncomfortable to be called out, you know. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, okay, if I value this relationship, you don't want this elephant in the room going on for forever, you know. So
Yeah.
I think it also needs a level of maturity,
Yeah, it's
which you
maturity.
said, yeah, the older you get, the more you're able to have these conversations and keep the friendship intact. And yes, feelings will be hard, you'll feel some type of way, but you move past it, you know.
Completely.
And I think also the other thing is, yeah, when you're in that state of maturity and flow, the reason it becomes easier is I think it's like the law of magnetism, because now you start attracting similar people. There you're saying people who think the same way, who view relationships and friendships the same way, so you end up getting more friends. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, completely. And so yeah, I think with friendships, you just need to learn how to separate. It's also important to separate. Like, not all your friends have to be friends. You know what I mean? Like now, you don't need to organize a group date for all my high school friends. You know, it's okay to have them in clusters. You know, these are my everyday people. These are my, you know,
Every
we're besties
month.
for life, but we're not meeting each other every day. We can meet after every 3 months, and we understand we'll still have a fantastic bond. But you know, some people now then feel the pressure, like now the friend groups have to meet. I don't think so. It doesn't have to happen. There will be situations where it happens, you know, maybe events, meet up, you know, it's a different thing. But see, Lasma, we can't force issues sometimes in life. You have to let them flow.
Flow. Yeah.
So I think that, yeah. And for me, friendship is also not like some only just calling each other out. It's also feeling safe enough to share your opinion without fear of judgment. And I think that's what a lot of people don't have. You always scared of, oh, what will people think if I say that? Or now is that the right thing to say? Like in a situation where you're safe as a person and in a group of people, you understand that you will have an opinion. Not everyone has to support you. They will share their opinions. And we don't have to all necessarily end that conversation saying, now we're in the same point of view. Yeah. We can have differences and opinion and it's fine. And that's okay. The world is also becoming this, you're either this or that, but it doesn't always have to be that way. the goal of conversations is always to make sure that you see my side, I see your side. Do we always have to be agree? No. Sometimes, yes, finally we get to see each other's point and we can meet halfway through. Other times, if not, it's fine. We can still keep bringing up the conversation, but see at Ilasma, we end up agreeing on the same thing. So
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's a lot of information as well, but also very valid points that have been made. I think we have been transitioning into that now phase of okay, I'm starting to understand these are my friends for this particular thing, and it's totally okay.
Yeah.
They're not my friend for this other thing, or
Everything. Yeah.
holistically, or it's okay we meet every 2 months, but it's not actually such a crime. But also, there's everyday friends. But
and I
yeah,
think even one thing I want to say is the intentionality behind friendships. You have to be understand why am I so keen on having this person as my friend? Because once the intention is clear, then you're not just reaching out randomly. This 2 months is not like a hey, let's meet up. You're also you have the intention in within you to say, actually I want to meet that person to just understand how are they going in life. Then you're clear on your intention. But also just not being the let's meet. Like, I think intention will allow you to clearly set that, my intention for hanging out with my friends who I'm saying are my core is because I know when I'm with them, we can talk about life, we can talk about what we're going through in life. It's an offloading, we laugh, we bond, we deepen the friendship and then we move. So the intention is clear there. We understand when we're together, so much can happen. There's so many things we can talk about. Possibly we come out of there with an idea that we feel is exciting, and we were progressing. So intention is also very key for friendships, I think.
I like that.
I think maybe, well, we've taken a bit of time, and I think we need to wrap up this episode soon. We've not even touched on everything we wanted to, but
We
that's
can
okay.
have a
I think
part two.
you have a part. Yeah, we can have a part two sooner than
Come back,
later. I
Zaga,
think
yeah.
maybe the last thing you can touch on, which can maybe sum up everything, is the mindset change from when you were just starting off your 20s to where you are now, and maybe what advice you can give to someone who's in a similar, like someone who's now in their 20s.
Tips for 20s, I think it's one, be patient with yourself. Everyone is on their journey and you quickly learn, your journey is not going to be the same as your friends. Some people will seem like they're doing it so much faster than you, but it's okay. That's their journey. And so being patient with yourself, understanding that you also are on your own journey. It may feel like you're running behind at 22, but it's okay. At 28, you'll make it. And if you don't make it at 28, it's okay. 35, you can make it. So there's no limit really to when you'll make it, but just understand that everyone is in their own journey. So be patient with yourself. Do the work. The work is important. Really understand who you are, what lights you up, what gives you energy. Those are the things that will carry you forward your whole life. So stop judging yourself, stop being hard on yourself. Instead, all those moments where you're judging yourself, understand what's the thing that's coming up in that moment and how can you use that to push you forward. And number three, even therapy is okay. People think, oh, therapy is a big deal. But for me, even doing the work means understanding sometimes it's okay to take help, whether in the form of a friend, whether through an actual person. It's okay. That's how you do the work and deal through, because we all have things we carry from our childhood and into adulthood. And so it's a constant unlearning and relearning. So that work process is hard. It takes time. It's tiring. It can feel like you're behind, but this work is going to really like put you in the next level for your whole career. And it's something you can carry. I think the work never ends. It's continuous. There's never a point where you'll get to and be like, oh wow, whew, work is done. No, because at every point of your life, there's a new thing that comes. You're working. You'll become a mom at some point. For those who want to become moms, maybe you won't become a mom, and that's okay. How do you navigate life with friends who have kids and you don't want to have kids? So those are the things that will come up. But the work is continuous. So just understand that. And yeah, just really put yourself out there, develop your skills. This whole mindset of free people want to get free. They hope one day or some rich person will find them and will marry them. You can wish, but in the process you work. You kind of also do your work. So set your goals high. It's stupid to say sometimes for some people because it's like, oh, it sounds like a dream, but really like nothing is there's no limit to what you can do. And I love Eliud Kipchoge for this, I think his mindset for me,
Limited.
that's someone whose mindset I admire so much,
Yeah.
because his mindset is so unshakable, and he also understands his strengths and he understands his weaknesses. But guys, when you watch him run, when you watch him on a race, or when he's talking about himself, that mindset is powerful. Woo. So really, we're all limitless. It's like, never forget that you have it in you. And when you're going to give up, and I had a podcast where someone was saying, it was a TED talk, and you're saying, those moments where you think, oh, what do you regret? Because he was talking about regret and what people regret in their younger days, and people always regret the opportunities they never took. So in that moment, you're like, guy, I don't know, do I reach out to that person? Will they respond? Reach out.
Yeah.
And
The worst is a no, anyway.
Super sure, that guy looks interesting, but I'm not really sure if I should approach. Do it, because then you will not regret that you didn't do it. The only regret you'll have is, I never even tried to do it. So that's become my new favorite thing. It's like, okay, I want to do it. I'm scared, but at the end of the day, what will I regret? I'll regret not doing it. So do it. Even if you think of, a friend, man, we've not talked in years, and I don't know, maybe she doesn't want to talk. The moment they've come up, reach out to them. So that's allowing me to power through life. So yeah, it's simple things like those. I don't think anyone ever knows everything, but I think for me, those are the things that are helping me now.
Wow, what a powerful episode. I told you guys at the beginning there's wisdom. I told you there's wisdom. You guys thought I was. You see, have we talked even?
It comes with experience, guys.
Yeah, when it comes when people like Magda come, we keep quiet because whatever we say is foolishness. This is wisdom.
It's not the same impact.
Yeah.
But,
No, but it's also like you're listening and learning, And,
Yeah, we have.
Hopefully, there's moments where I
learned
can also
so much.
listen and learn from you. But I think these are interesting conversations to have. They don't happen more often than they should, but I think it's important for, especially women, to just really like support each other, surround yourself with older, younger. My friends are from Gen Zs all the way to whatever age, because I think there's just so much I know, and there's more they can teach me.
No, it's true.
So it's always an exchange. And guys, just community is powerful. So that's the only thing I'll say. Find your community, and that's what will help you get through life.
Yeah, because Band Over Brands, the point wasn't to now tell them what we know. It's also them knowing that we are learning as we grow. And even when we're 25 and we're still running this podcast, we will probably advise better than we did when we are now. So and
you'll be looking back at your younger episodes and be like, oh my God.
Even now, I'm sure.
3 years, surely 105 episodes. I'm sure there are episodes.
And sometimes you probably look at yourself and you're like, oh my God, what was I saying? I thought I knew. And it's okay, And it's okay, because at that point you would have regretted not have doing that again. It's better you did it than you didn't.
And you probably had limited information.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
did
best
what
you knew then.
Exactly. You have to do the best with what you have, and that's what powers you.
Wow. I rarely listen back to episodes, but I know this one because I've not talked a lot. I listen. It was a very nice
Awesome.
episode.
I'm
I've picked up
happy
a
to
lot
have
of gems.
dropped some gems.
Yeah,
it was a
definitely.
really nice
We're bringing
episode.
you back for part 2. We'll book your calendar.
Let's see what the fans say, and then I'll decide if I have time in my calendar.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for gracing our podcast. And guys, make sure that you subscribe for more guest episodes and more insightful conversations like we had today. It's free to subscribe to from wherever you're listening from. So whether that's on YouTube or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, just anywhere. And, follow us on social media as we keep moving forward beyond just the podcast brand. We are beyond the podcast Bantover branch. We are doing other things on social media. So if you can go support us there as well, that would be great. I think we can wrap it up. My name is Alice Kanji.
Alexia Msao.
And my name is Magda, or I go as the Magda. That's what I'll say for now.
Do you want to plug yourself or your socials for people to follow?
If you really need to reach out to me, I have a private account because I like to keep my group small. But if you have questions, I'm happy to respond. So it's on Instagram. I am _Magda. So you can send me a request there. I'll respond.
It'll be vetted then.
if I feel I have some wisdom to share.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
guys.
And thank you guys for listening to the episode. I know this was a good episode, so please leave a comment, share with a friend or two. I know everyone can learn from this episode for sure. Yeah. Oh wow, you're like,
Me, I don't like me. It's gone.
yeah. That's nice. You talk sense.
You
It's good.
talked sense. Yeah, very happy.
Sawa
Okay,
sawa
sawa. We'll
guys.
see you in
See
the next one.
you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.